The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Well, we're back into it and back at it. This is The Local Show with Tom and Steve. It's a product of Zoey Advertising, which is a full-service advertising agency. For those of you who don't know what advertising is, that's the commercials that you hear and things that you see now, a lot of social media and stuff like that. So Zoey Advertising are specialists in that space. Steve has a whole team of slaves. I mean, a whole team of people that work here. And he controls them all.
They're not slaves, they're indentured servants. Let's be clear. They're not the same. They're indentured servants.
Oh, that's great.
We got a great team here, and you're right. The digital and the video and photos and social media and a lot of radio commercials and that billboard we have over in 690.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Steve billboard.
The Steve billboard, yeah, that has become electronically very popular. And people are getting business from being on it. And that's what it is, right? We want to do things that drive business to people.
Yes. Speaking of business, I went to see Stephanie at Blake Jewelers. She took care of us. Yeah, my wife lost a couple of the little diamonds that go on the outside of the big diamond.
Okay.
That I got her 31 years ago because we celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary.
Okay.
So yeah, it's funny you don't get a prize or anything. I guess the 3 kids were enough for us, right? Yeah. But yeah, so I took it over to Stephanie, and she is able to replace those diamonds, and she's going to do up a little thing like that. And then Kelly had a ring that was bent. Mm-hmm. So she took care of the bent ring, and then she cleaned another ring. So she is just fantastic and at a fraction of the cost of some of these big box type places.
She says, diamonds for less, they really are. Like a third of the price. And we've purchased several things out there, and she just knows what she's doing. If anybody doesn't know who we're talking about, Stephanie Blake Jewelry at Township 5.
Correct.
Next to Subway. So
yeah. And kitty corner to the theater,
and she's great.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, right now, it's our pleasure to bring a new person onto the show. His name is Earl Hall, and he's the executive director of Syracuse Builders Exchange. How are you, Earl?
Good morning. Great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sounds like a country song, Earl.
The Earl Hall Players.
Yeah, I haven't met a guy named Earl since I met a country singer, actually. So, Earl, how long have you been involved with the executive director over there?
Well, I was hired back in 1992.
Oh, okay. That's a while ago, yeah.
Did you know somebody that worked there?
Well, I did. So back in 1992, I was hired, and I think approximately 12 years later, I was migrated to the executive director position. And yes, my father, Earl N. Hall, was the executive director at the association for decades. And I think at the time they were looking for a transition plan.
Yeah. Did he start it?
No.
Because I just always knew the Builders Exchange and Earl Hall. I always put those two together.
Yeah.
My father had been there, I want to say, for in excess of 40 years. However, the association itself is the oldest construction industry association in the United States.
Well, tell people what it is.
Well, it was founded in 1872, so my father wasn't there when it was founded. However, the association is for commercial contractors, not residential contractors.
Okay.
We basically gather content, and we disseminate the content in many different fashions. So the main content that we gather would be construction projects that are in the planning stages or construction projects that are in the bidding stages. Mm-hmm. Information that we gather could be news, it could be updates relative to OSHA standards, education and safety training content that we deliver both virtually and in person through our classrooms. So the content that we gather is vital to the industry, and we're the resource for those employees.
Commercial builders, would I include plumbers, electricians, and anybody in the trades as part of that?
Yes, so any employer engaged in the industry, whether you're union or non-union, whether you're a general contractor, you're a supplier, a manufacturer's representative, or a specialty subcontractor, which the majority of the members are specialty subcontractors. About 71% of the 970 firms define themselves as specialty.
You have 970 firms that belong.
Yes, sir.
What would be the benefit of somebody belonging then?
The benefit of an employer belonging to the association, number one benefit would be the electronic plan room, where we gather projects that are in the planning stages or projects that are out for bid from Buffalo to Albany, Messina, down through Binghamton. That's our footprint. And so we gather 7,000 commercial, industrial, institutional, both public and private projects for building construction throughout that geography. So it's a free service to construction project owners, whether you're public or private owner. This is a free service. So the architect of that owner, Zoey Advertising, is going to build a huge building in downtown Syracuse.
Oh, no, the news is out. No, just kidding.
And so you guys have I'm making this up, a $10 million budget. You hire the architect. He creates Steve's vision for what this is going to look like. And then it goes out to bid. Well, where does the architect send it generally, or the general contractors? They send it to the association. They know we disseminate that information to thousands of contractors throughout upstate New York. It goes through the Builders Exchange here in Syracuse, but employers in Buffalo and employers in Albany also have access to the same electronic plan room content.
So that is specs and what you need to bid. And if Tom's an electrician and he's like, this job is, they do a special, they got a room and a thing, and he feels it fits his company, he would then bid on it.
Yeah. So
or not bid on it.
You got it. So you'd look at the plans and the specs electronically, and then you determine whether or not you want to bid on that work.
Yeah. So a lot of people have said that the Micron thing is not happening. They'll say, "Oh yeah, this isn't happening." Even though the roads and everything are being built and the lines are being run and all that. So what do you say to that? Because you're seeing things probably happening, right? Because you have to get into the bid process.
So I have access to resources close to the executive team in Boise.
Okay, there you go.
And resources within the industry and the trades. Greg Lancette is president of our Building Trades Council, one of my closest allies and friends. And we discuss a lot of things relative to Micron and the impact that project will have on our construction ecosystem. And our ecosystem is fragile and delicate in this market, much like it is elsewhere when these mega projects come to town. And so we are preparing our ecosystem to adapt to this mega project that will be happening. I suspect that they will break ground in the first quarter of 2025.
Well, that's soon. Okay.
And you will see activity happening on that property. It's happening now, but you'll see it continue to happen. Not only on that property, but off from 481, from 81. You'll see a new water main coming from Lake Ontario. You're going to see new wastewater treatment plants built in the town of Clay. You're probably looking at another $2 or $3 billion of construction to support that.
So what you're saying is, if someone says it's not happening, they're full of garbage, Tom. That's what he said. It so much better than I would have. So it's happening, and that's what you're talking about.
It's going to happen. It's just to what extent will they complete it?
Okay.
Because the project labor agreement calls for up to 5 chip fabrication plants to be built on that property. Whether or not they build all 5 remains to be seen, but I do suspect they will start construction at some point in 2025.
So just really quickly, have you heard of any other ancillary businesses that of note that might be coming in and needing to be built?
So the answer is yes.
Okay.
And we've already seen them start here.
He has his I can't tell you look.
No, I just have to be careful sometimes what I say, but I can tell you that there have been at least 2 or 3 new companies that have relocated here and have built buildings that are active today because of the project. And I can tell you there's many, many more large employers that are already doing work on other fabs throughout the country that are coming here as well.
Excellent.
Builders Exchange in Syracuse, SYRABEX, Syracuse Builders Exchange, correct? Website.com?
Syrabex.com.
Syrabex.com. Information, if you don't belong to Builders Exchange and you have a business like that, well, golly, get on board.
All right. Thank you, Earl. Thank
pleasure.
you for all you do. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Dave Pettit and Jessica Pensabene. Dave is the founder and president of the company, and then Jessica is the senior account manager of Elevate It. So we're going to get high.
Don't forget to bring a towel. What?
Coming up next on the local show on 570 WSYR.